Welcome, Panther fans, to Off the Rails Sports Saturday, episode 9. We're here today with PHS Track and Field athletes today. But first, we want to sit there and put out. Hopefully, everybody's recovered from the Isapalooza, the week and a half of just crazy weather we had here. Still seeing some residuals of that. I think we still got hearing people without power. Now you got to deal with busted pipes as everything thaws out. So electricians and plumbers are getting a lot of work here in the last week or two. So, but hopefully everybody is safe and back kind of to a normal routine. Speaking of, we had basketball. We got 3 days of basketball here. Should have been Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, but now we have Thursday, Friday, and then today, trying to get the games in. I think next week we have 3 games also. Trying to get everything in before the district tournament start on the 16th. Speaking of basketball, just to recap real quick, Thursday night we played White House at Portland here, and both girls and boys came out with a win. Big win there. The girls came out winning 63-41, and the boys came out with a 47-43 win. Last night was homecoming. I'll get the homecoming court, King and Queen, up on the Facebook page on the winners there and the participants at the homecoming. But girls came away with the win last night, beating Greenbrier 49-30, and then the boys also came away with a big win, 65-22. Both games, girls and boys. I guess if you really want to put a recap of it, it was a little sloppy, and it's just to the point of both coaches, girls and boys, tried to empty the bench, try to get everybody playing time. I think everybody on the boys team got into play. I know that the student section was really happy to see Wyatt Napier go in and play. He even got a couple baskets, some rebounds. Sean C. brings out there shooting threes. Will Cottle's playing point guard, bringing the ball up on the up to the court and everything. So there's a lot of crazy things that you see. But you saw a lot of things, Coach, that you normally see when you got people who don't play a lot, and that's a lot of bad passes, a lot of bad shots taken, not being in a position defensively to do certain things. But it's playing time that it's that they need to have, and you never know who you're going to have to count on when it comes down to tournament play, districts and regions and sub-state and all that stuff, because you never know if an injury could happen here and there or something. So you got to look for somebody. So I think the girls. I like the girls coming off the bench that come in. I really do like watching Lindsay play. She's really feisty, kind of like Sidnor on the boys team. They're quick defensively. Both everything's defensively. They're really got quick hands, quick feet. I like the effort, but the girls coming off the bench, I think they're a little bit more scrappier than the boys are down low and doing things like that from what I see there. But both 2 big wins right there Thursday and Friday night. To go into today's game with Springfield. The girls' game starts at 2 o'clock. The boys will start about 15 minutes after, probably about 3:15, 3:30, and everything. That will be brought to you on YouTube, Portland Sports Network YouTube. Audio, hopefully Kyle Eaton will be there today with his voice. Last night he's fighting flu and some strep. What do you call it? What's the word?
He's just being a sissy.
He's fighting, those things that come along with strep and the flu and everything. So you heard him last night on the voice with his voice. It kind of turned into that. Of course, I'm gonna show my age here. The kid on the Little Rascals, called him Frog. That little deep, scratchy.
I think he's good like that. I don't know.
Someone said he
Prima
sounded
donnas
like
are
somebody
like
said he
that,
sounded like Tone Loc. So again, it's still showing your age there on that. But there about second quarter of the girls' game, he just kind of lost the voice. He couldn't do it. So you took over their coach there and did a good job on that and got us through the game and everything. So he's home resting his voice. Hopefully he can be there tonight for Springfield. He's going to be there. We'll see if he can talk or anything as he fights through this issue that he's got and everything. But what's your take on the
Well, my first take
so
is when I'm doing the play-by-play, if the other team's listening, too bad. I don't know your players. If they impress me real quick, I'll figure them out. But I don't study that stuff I got there. I have a real job. I just, I come in to do play-by-play. It's tough. And I've always said that Kyle does a great job play-by-play. Andy does a good job on football. But I don't spend the time memorizing the other team. Kyle does a great job doing it. I don't know how he fits it all in. He just likes he's been watching them forever. If the first year I showed up doing it, I didn't know hardly anybody. I knew Keelan because I coached him in baseball, and Tristan, but some of the other kids I didn't know worth a darn. So it's tough, man. So I know our guy's good, but I don't know the other team, and I don't care.
That's what I did when I started broadcasting football in 2015, 16, whatever it was. I'm over going, this is Portland radio, so I'm worried about Portland kids. I'll know them. I'll tell you all about them. No one, that's number 10, that's 22. That's all you get from me.
And that's good because when some of those teams come up from Nashville in basketball, man, there ain't a kid on the team that's got a name I couldn't spell or hardly read. I don't know where they come up with those names at. It's all cool. I'm not dogging it. It's all good. But for me, I'm not an English guy. You know what I'm saying? When English class was going on, I was out. I was clocked out. I was thinking about football plays or baseball or something. I was a math person. It is what it is. Kyle was an English person. I was Kid Kyle. He never got in trouble in high school ever. So we're total opposites. I think that's one reason why I think so much of him is he just makes me smile. But hopefully he's better tonight and back up. If not, we'll handle it.
What's your take on the basketball right now?
I can't believe Greenbrier scored only 2 points in the second half.
Boys.
I think the boys, I think the boys, and not us, Greenbrier scored 2 points. I think the referee should have just ended the game of lack of competitiveness. I don't think I've ever seen a high school boys basketball game with just 2 points scored by either team in a whole half. But in the right, I think my sheet had.
They were throwing shots though.
They were showing them up, but they sure couldn't hit them. The one kid that reminds me of Screech or something like that on what's the name of that show?
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. He looks just like you. He's a pretty scrappy little ball player though. But man, they couldn't
the blonde kid, number 20.
The blonde kid, yeah.
Okay.
He looks just like you. But I don't know. I knew we were going to beat them, but I just didn't realize we would beat them that bad. And our team's bad. And I remember they tried to press us, and I said on the air, mistake. The one thing you don't want to do is give us a chance to run, because if we run, we're going to run you out of the gym. And I've said this many times. Coach Ferguson's background is he's a low post guy, right? In high school, he was a low post. Coach Kington was our coach. And we fed the paint. That's just what Kington did, and John was a big guy, and that's what he did. So he grew up with that mindset. And, I was just the opposite. My kid was a shooting point guard that loved to run, so I've always been that kind of person. So for Coach Ferguson to understand what he's got on the floor, athletic-wise, we got 7 kids that can flat fly, and they can all handle the ball to a point. They don't all need to be point guards, but they all can handle the ball. They can catch it, put it on the floor, a couple dribbles, and pass it really well. Honeycutt's probably one of the best passers I've ever seen. And they're just so good at that part of the game. We're lacking a little bit on size, but Keelan will eat you up inside offensively. There's not a lot of guys that's going to stop him as quick and strong as he is. But for Coach Ferg to see what he has and put that team together, back in and I'm not dogging Coach Kington, but he wouldn't run for nothing. And we had kids that could flat fly back then too, but he just didn't like to run.
That just goes.
But Coach Ferg is a great coach because he coaches to the talent that he has.
The game changes as you go back to football. What did everybody do back then?
Yeah, but Mike Krzyzewski was alive in 2000.
But you run the ball and everything. It was just running the ball. You pass every now and then, and now it's everything's passing. You got 2x2, 3x1 sets in football and everything. You don't see the I formation anymore very much.
And like I said, I'm not dogging Coach Kington at all. There was a guy here, Coach Hatley was right before he came in. That was a run and gun kind of coach, and we as a family was really looking forward to that offense because that fit my son really well. And there was some other kids. I talked to James Ray, sadly at a funeral home the other day, and he was talking about he didn't play his freshman year because he didn't like the way Coach Kington's his low post kind of stuff. And he ended up playing for him eventually, because you want to play. But just his style of play. But Coach Ferg, he just proves to me that when your background is one way, but your talent is this way, you're good enough of a coach and smart enough that you're going to adjust to your talent. You do it. That's why Coach Ferguson, he could possibly be the best coach we've ever had up here, at least since I've been here. It's the same thing in football. Remember we were talking about hiring a football coach, and someone said, he needs to run a spread. I said, if he comes up here, whoever interviews and says, I'm running a spread offense, don't hire him. Because how do you know you're going to have the kids to run a spread? You're not going to know that until you get to the school, and it's going to change every year, every 2 years, right? So if spread offense is the only thing you can coach, and you don't have the kids to run it,
Don't apply
what's going to happen?
unless you know you got the athletes
Yeah,
to run that.
I'm good with the wing T, right? Because a wing T, you can spin throws off of it. But you can't spin runs. You can off a spread, but that's not what it's meant for, right? So if you don't have receivers like you and quarterbacks that can throw consistently, you can't run a spread offense. And it doesn't matter if you want to. It doesn't matter if you're the best coach in the country. You can't run it. And that's one reason private schools have a lot of success with it, is because they recruit, right? They can pull kids in. They can go to these little, the high school coaches down in Nashville, they spend all Saturday going to little pee-wee football games all over Middle Tennessee. They do. It is what it is. One of my best baseball players, Michael Hassel, which is signed in Tuesday for East Tennessee State University, by the way, and Keelan Neal, who's siding between either Arkansas or Tennessee, or Memphis. I don't know why he even thinking about Memphis, but he likes it that way. But anyway, that's how they picked those two young men up. They lived in the Whites Creek area.
Talk about FRA.
FRA, yeah. There was no way they could afford to go to FRA. And, these coaches were at these pee-wee football games, and that's where they see the kids, and they start watching them and grooming them and talking to their parents. And, we're not going to get into all the private schools, because I know how you feel about that. And you know how I feel about private school, because I'm a big fan of private schools. Because
I'm not against them.
Some kids don't have the opportunities you got. This is a great town right here, right? Everybody here it's a great community, a great school, but there's some inner city schools, like when you play Hunter's Lane, it's not the same thing, right? It's because they just don't have the backing of parents across the board, and they don't have the support system. Well, what they do is some of these kids that don't have that environment, they get a chance to go to a school that's got a good faculty and teaches them the right thing. So how can you hate something when someone's being better in life on it?
Real quick, I don't want to get off the rails because we got a lot of stuff to do.
And I know Portland.
Back in my days when I played, okay, the private end and public was separated. But in the season, we had to go in the playoffs and play all these private schools that were always, recruiting, and that was the big thing back then. And I understand what you're saying. It gives some kids opportunities that they wouldn't have. Nowadays, though, with social media, and back then, to get recruited, you had to put film and VHS tapes together and send them out and all that. Now, all you got to do is do a TikTok or this or that, and send it. And you've got people now, the recruiting department in colleges have 12 people to sit, and all they do is watch film. And when they see something, they go, hey, okay, and then they pass it on to the next guy, and they go, hey, is this guy worthy?
That's true.
And then it passes on, and it finally gets to the coach, and the coach goes, oh yeah, let's go after something.
That's true, no point. But there's a lot of money grabs programs.
It is,
like baseball and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're talking about these velos and zelos, and they're doing all this kind of crap, and they don't know anybody. Their kids aren't getting recruited. There's a guy down south here a little while who's got a program for a few years. He's only getting small school recruits to his guys because he doesn't know anybody. Your coach better know somebody. And I've got 5 guys that's probably going to get recruited off my summer team, and we're not even part of a program. We practice at the high school field. But we don't have no velos and Smelo machines and all that stuff because you know what? Can you get on the ball field and play? That's the key. And the coaches they don't put enough pressure on themselves to get these kids recruited. Because they put too much on how much film you got out. How much, as a coach, pick up the daggone phone and call somebody. And if you're convicted, if you believe in that kid, and you really truly believe that he can do the job, you can convince somebody of that kind of stuff to at least come take a look. And that's the thing. Your coaches have got to have connections, and they've got to feed that. They've got to know. They got to invite people up. Just come up and talk. Let's talk a little bit. Come see our program. We might not have anybody now recruitable, but we got a guy, sophomore, that, come to practice one day. Wine and dine them. Have some food over there for them. We don't do that enough sometimes in areas that need to be done. And it's an absolute must. You better have connections if you want your kids to go to the next level.
say this real quick, and then we'll go on to the next subject. But it also goes along
they're
with
over there falling asleep because they don't care, but they're all excited. They like this stuff.
But it's just like the NFL draft. Back in the days, you drafted from the big colleges, from D1 schools and everything, because that's all you had. You didn't have anyone going to Emporia State Community College to see what this kid has, you know. But it all changed with Jimmy Johnson, I think, and the Cowboys in the 90s, because he started Leon Lett, some of the guys that he got drafted coming from these small schools, not Nate Newton, but the other guard, Larry Allen from Sonoma State. Where's Sonoma State at? You know,
I don't know, but how do anybody miss him?
So it's just so. But now you can go to these small colleges. You can go to Cumberland, put a tape out there, and everybody can see what you can do. And then they sit there and go, "Hey, let's go visit this guy." But you're saying, you know, you got to have a connection. It takes one person to get that connection. So let's talk about Eastrock. You had the Groves kid that went to Ole Miss years ago. That just channeled everybody to start coming in, going, okay, what do you got? What do you got?
Well, that helped when Blake Owen, who played for me in the summer since he was 13 for their baseball program, and he went to Vanderbilt, and he was the connection. That remember how East Rob had quite a few pitcher kids that go to the next level. Blake Owen was the one who started that. If you go to East Rob and look on the wall back there, number 31.
What you got now is we have a small pipeline now coming into Portland. I can tell you this. Navy's coming in the spring to watch spring practice. They've already reached out. And they are, of course, how they're here. They're going to sit there and talk to Avery and everything because that's, you know, the guy that they recruited.
It doesn't matter when they talk to. They're here.
But
that's
yes,
the
they're here.
Line.
But they're asking now, who else do you got?
Right.
So
and
now,
they'll ask
now
Avery
as
too,
a
what
coach,
kind of kids.
as a coach, you guys sit there and go, okay, we have to be honest with these kids and go, who do we have that can play at that level? And you can sit there and go, hey, we got this kid here. He's just going to be a junior, or we got the senior guy. Okay, but you need to come back, keep an eye on this junior.
Yeah,
or I get this. You got this sophomore.
You can't never lie.
So the thing is, guess what? Navy's coming in. Who came to recruit? You got Bowling Green will come in. You got Army will be coming in. You got Air Force will be coming in because they all came to visit. And they go, okay, well you got Avery, but now who else do we have? Now we got people coming in. And all it takes is one guy.
And you have to groom that. Our new coach,
yes.
I don't know him that well, but you know he has got to be in contact constantly with coaches, inviting them in. You have to have a conversation. And that's his job. That was Coach Hicks's job. I don't know how much he did it or didn't do it. I can tell you this. I hate to throw anybody in the bus, but you know, 24 years ago, there was a coach at one of our sports up here in high school that wouldn't even give you a recommendation letter.
Yep.
He just absolutely, you got recruited on your absolute own. And like I said, I like the guy. He was a good person. You know, he was a good coach because he left the kids alone and let them do what they already knew how to do. But he would not sign any letter. We didn't ask because we didn't need his letter. But one of our best players that ended up going to college thanks for his summer league program, shout out She Kicks Baseball Club, got signed because of that, but he would not give them anything. That's your job as a coach of a high school team, is to help your kids if they're keeping their grades up. And I don't want to throw anybody in the bus, but when you guys first got here at school, did you ever have meetings early on and talk the most important thing about if your goal is the next level, your grades? That is the absolute first conversation that anybody needs to have with freshmen coming into high school. Because when the freshman class, or all of you guys, every year when you sit down in your coaches meeting with your coaches, the first thing they need to do is say, do any of you have aspirations to go to college? And don't be ashamed of it. Now, a lot of people are afraid to put their hand up, right? Because if you don't make it, then you're embarrassed that you didn't make it. Failing there's nothing wrong with failing. Failing is part of life. The challenge is not then having the guts to say, I want to do it. But the key is the coaches, the first thing they need to do is tell you what you need to do for that to possibly happen. And the very first thing is your grades. Because if you don't have good grades and you're a borderline athlete, you're not going anywhere. Because ain't nobody going to take a chance on you to fail out in the first semester. And that happens up here to a lot of kids that do get a chance to go to college. They don't make it through the first half of the year because they're not ready for that kind of stuff. That's the first conversations that need to be had. The athletic stuff's going to take care of itself. You know, eating right, getting some sleep. You know, you're a kid, you're going to do stupid stuff. Kids do stupid stuff. But your grades, that's unconditional. You have to do the best you can, without a doubt.
It is this little off the rails conversation with recruiting and everything. I can sit there and say, I believe it's Thursday. This coming up Thursday,
yes.
we have two
1:30.
athletes. We have 2 athletes, Keelan Dolan and Josiah Sharklet will be signing their letter of intent to be going to Lindsey Wilson. I know.
Is he going to sign Thursday?
I know AB has now got an offer
Yeah.
to Lindsey Wilson. Lindsey Wilson's starting to become a little Portland.
It doesn't matter as long as they get
They're
up
going.
there and they. And sorry, this is about you guys, but you don't have 2 hours to talk. The one thing, and I already talked to Key, when you do get that opportunity, the first thing that a kid messes up is they won't come home every week. Don't come home every weekend. Don't think about coming home except for on holidays. Get up to your school, get settled in, get your grades in order. Because man, I'm gonna tell you what, you're gonna get hit in the mouth with the grades. If you're not taking honors classes up here at Portland High School, when you go to college, the first semester, you're gonna get punched in the face. A lot harder than you realize. And you're just going to have to keep standing and not come running home every chance to do with buddies and all. You know, Sonic is going to be here 30 years from now. You know, go to your school and Waffle House. Go to your school, get settled in. Be part of the community on campus, right? Go to the football games if you're not playing football. Go to the basketball games if you're a football player. Go do whatever. Hang out, learn, meet new people. Sit in your room and study. Study. But don't be running home. First time I see Keelan next year in town during the fall, I'm going to punch him in the face. If it's not, I'm going to do it because he doesn't need to be here. He needs to stay up at school. And I'm not picking on Keelan. I just know him and I love him like a son. I mean, Keelan's a great soul.
The first thing that kids have to understand when they go to college, whether they're an athlete or not, is the free time that you have and the time management that you have to decide on how it goes. Mom and Dad's not there to sit there and give you your schedule. They go, hey, I got to get you up here. You need to eat here. I'll take you to school here. You know, even if you're a senior and Mom and Dad's still doing this stuff, hey, you got to do this. You got to. It's now on you, and that's a lot of things that kids will sit there and go, man, I don't know how to manage my time. You know, you get up when you want to get up. You go to class if you want to go to class. You don't have to go to class. You know, but it's the consequences that you have to take on if the teacher wants to take roll. There's some teachers in there who won't take roll. They'll take it the first time, make sure you're in the right class, and after that, they won't take roll again.
Yeah,
and they'll lecture, and you get a midterm, you get a final, and that's it. You get 2 grades.
Good athletic programs monitor you.
So
they'll show up. They'll send their assistant coaches around, and they got your schedule for sure. They do that, and they'll just show up. If you're not there, ask a kid from Western Kentucky, starting second baseman. He didn't play the first weekend in Las Vegas. Didn't even get to go on the trip because he cut out a couple classes the week before. So they said, you're not going. And Matty J, I love him to death, but he's great.
Yeah, the schools nowadays have a staff that are just tremendous on what they do, and so much support staff that they have. Someone who can watch you go to class and make sure that they walk around the building and check the list and go, yeah, I see him in there, or I see her in there. Yeah, okay, we're good there. But real quick update on wrestling. The girls had the individual regionals yesterday at Siegel. We had Kaylee Howlett and Anderson Duffy actually won their first matches and advanced them into later into the thing, but they lost the next couple matches. What they were trying to do is get into the top 4 of the individual, which will then put them into the sectionals. And from my understanding, they did not win those matches, so they did not advance. So we have no girls advancing past the individual regionals. The boys are over at Wilson Central today doing their individual regionals. Hopefully we'll get some updates. I can update on Facebook, excuse me, on Facebook to let everybody know how they're doing. They're trying to get people. I think we have 1 or 2 wrestlers, boys-wise, that can probably advance into the sectionals and everything. But to sit there and talk, I can't wait for the season to end to actually get some wrestlers and the coach on here to talk to us about it because
you're already on. Right?
So that way, you know, we can figure out what's going on, how the season. I know from the first match we saw, which was against Liberty Creek, to now, we've made so much advancement with teaching and learning and the kids understanding what's going on and everything. But I think we'll have a good program here wrestling-wise in the next several years to come. I think Coach Roberts has done a great job starting the program up. It's got to be hard to start a program up to have athletes that don't know how to do anything. You have to teach them not only how to wrestle and moves and this and that, but you have to teach them how to, you know, there's rules on how you go and you sign up and you go up and tell the
it's
person.
You know the good thing about it though?
You have to be. You can't have sweats on. You can't be just in sweats and a t-shirt going up there and going, "Hey, I'm the next wrestler."
Right.
You have to be in your
Uniform.
outfit, your uniform, whatever, tights, whatever you want to call them, and you have to be ready. And when you go, if not, you're faulted and you're done. You know.
You know the
so,
good thing about it though? The parents don't know what you need.
But as a coach, you're good.
Oh yeah. So as a coach, you're not hearing a word. You know, because every parent in the world knows everything about baseball, football, and basketball. So it's at least that part of it. And before I forget, just to you and the track team, shout out to Caden Lane and go Hawks. We're gonna win it tomorrow, buddy.
So what we'll do is we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll get into the track and field guys here and talk about track and field and what they got coming on this season. Some expectations they have, goals, things in the past that's happened, and just kind of talk here and there with you guys here. So, but we come back, we'll have PHS Track, but you're listening to Sports Saturday Off the Rails here on Portland Sports Network. Welcome back, Panther fans, to Sports Saturday Off the Rails. I'm your host, Coach Almendarez, along with Coach Thayer. Kyle Eaton is home, resting his voice for this afternoon's games for basketball. But today our guest is PHS Track and Field, or I guess track you would say. We have no fields here, no athletes here today that's doing the field events. But I'll introduce Coach Ryan Smith over here on my left. We got Alex Swift, Alex Neiswanger, Haley Rivera, and Zoe Thornton with us today. And we'll get into what class they're in, what events they do, and then get more into it. But first, we want to start with Coach Ryan Smith here. Coach, how you doing today, and how long have you been coaching track?
Coach, thanks for having us back. Doing pretty good today. Luckily, a lot of the snow and ice has started to melt, so finally getting back out into civilization. We were locked in our house for over a week, so it was good to just get out and back to normal, you know. But yeah, I've been coaching track since, I believe it was, were you guys a freshman when I started? So yeah, this is gonna be my 4th year being officially part of the track team.
How did you get into coaching? Just somebody asked you, hey, you want to coach, or?
Yeah, Dr. Woods actually, whenever I got hired, he told me, well, I don't know if you knew this, but you're going to be one of the track coaches as well.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
He didn't really ask. He just kind of informed you that you were, right?
Yeah, it was one of those voluntold situations, but it's been a blessing. You know, it's been something that I've really grown to enjoy. I didn't really know a lot about track when I started. You know,
that was going to be my next question: is come up and go, hey, you're going to go teach this sport. Do you go and you hit the internet real quick and start learning everything you could?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so many events. Where do you start?
Yeah. So
I started with the long distance stuff because that's where like Coach Rogan's expertise was more in the sprinting, and at first it was pretty much just us. We had a couple guys and ladies join us later on, but to start out back in 2022, it was pretty much just me and him. So he kind of took the sprinters, and I kind of took the long distance.
And then the field events, they were on their own?
No, not on their own. We've had Coach Porter here. I think you've met her before.
Yeah.
Coach Porter. She's been helping us out for a while as well.
One thing that helps about that, though, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. YouTube is amazing. That athletes, like if you decide you want to be a shot putter, if you go to YouTube, you can learn how to be a shot putter by going to YouTube.
Yeah, there's lots of great
people
resources.
who critique you. Obviously, you need coaches for that, but it's kind of phenomenal the way social media has changed, where you can learn to do things by just going to certain places.
Right.
How many coaches now do you have? You went from 2 4 years ago, basically. So how many coaches now do you have helping track as volunteers and real coaches, if you want to call them that?
Coach Rogan, myself, Coach Porter, Coach Hester, and Coach Neiswanger. I think that's it. So that would be 5 of us.
Coach Hester is a good guy, by the way.
Yep. He's part of my extended family. So
is he really?
Known him for a while.
How many athletes do you now have on the team for this year?
This year we're looking at just over 50, about 55, 56 athletes. It's actually down just a little bit from last year. We've had some kids that have, moved out of the area or maybe gone homeschooled or whatever, just different things like that. We've got a pretty decent sized seniors, upperclassmen group for the most part. We've got some new athletes as well that we're excited to get to know and give them a chance to compete as well. But it's a good mix.
At the high school level, do you ever go and watch middle school track, and do you ever sit there and kind of go, hey, that's somebody we need to talk to? We'd like hopefully come. You do it with all other sports and everything. Do you do that with track? Do you all sit there and ever watch middle school track, or do you just sit there and go, I just know we got an athlete coming, and hopefully they come out and participate?
Every once in a while, we'll take a look at the middle schoolers. They come over and practice, especially starting like once it gets a little warmer in March and April, and they'll come and practice on our track, and they'll have some events over at our track. So sometimes we'll help out with those, and that gives us a good chance to get a look at the up and comers. Absolutely.
I know everybody. You got the track there at the school. Everybody come over and run, do their sprints, do their hurdles, and do this and that. The stuff that we don't have. Like, I know Alex does decathlon. Where does he have to practice those other things that we don't have at the school? Where does he get a chance to practice those at?
So up until this season, actually, it's been at Liberty Creek because they were the only school in the county that had a real functional track. That's something that I think Dr. Langford, through the whole stadium process the last couple of years, has kind of been pushing forward is to get some more tracks. I think Hendersonville has one now, and then Station Camp has a new track as well. So there's a few more options now than there used to be. But the whole time that I've been here, it's been Liberty Creek.
When does the season start?
Officially, it starts March 15th. That's the official date for track. We do some preseason stuff. Like we have this next Saturday, we're going to an indoor meet in Louisville, Kentucky. All of our athletes here today are competing there. So we'll do some preseason stuff like that, but it's really kind of a long road to ramp up to that official start.
So everything's based off of time or your ending results, as in, so for these guys it's time, but for if your measurements for your shot put discus, if you're doing a high jump, the height and all that, you keep those, and does that qualify you later on, or is there certain events that you have to qualify in to get moved into sectional, sub-state, state, and all that stuff?
So the way it works is that any of the meets that happen after that March 15th date, when they become official, if they reach the qualifying time at any of those to qualify for the subsectional meet, then that just counts. So let's say we have a meet March 29th at Kirkwood High School, Oprah Classic. If any of these athletes or any of the athletes qualify, get the qualifying time for subsectionals, then they have that time, and it qualifies them right then and there.
How do you know what the qualifying time is? Is it a set time that they just put out there? If you get better than this, you're going to go no matter what, no matter how many athletes we got?
Yeah.
We going to have 3 or we going to have 25?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
TSSAA puts those out.
Okay. So that's a goal there they can reach for, look for, and everything. So explain to me then, with track and field, I know there's all kinds of events, and I know with coaching football and then baseball and watching basketball, everybody, you have practice. How does a track and field practice go normally on a typical day?
So it's kind of hard to say right now. We've been inside pretty much the entire, starting in December to now. We've been inside either in the indoor or in the gym or in the hallways. But on a normal practice, when we're outside on the track, we do about a 15-minute warm-up where we just do some stretches, some normal warm-up stuff. We do warm-up lines, we do some phase running, stuff like that. And then we will kind of break up into groups. So sprinters will work with other sprinters, hurlers will work with other hurlers, and long distance will work with long distance, and then our throwers will go with Coach Porter. We have a couple kids that do jumps as well, long jump, high jump, and they kind of work with everybody. Sometimes they'll run, sometimes they'll work on their jumps.
How important, we'll get into this later on with the kids here, but how important in your mind is, I guess, to me, I would think stretching, being flexible is a big thing. How much do y'all work on? I think this would be the time I would be working on the stretching and your flexibility and stuff, and then progressing. But I don't know anything about track and field, so I just, in my head, that would be the progression. But in your mind and in your thoughts and everything, how important is being flexible or being able to stretch? I know a fast kid from playing in college and everything. I know a kid who's really fast. We had a kid at Tech ran 4.2, 4.3, but he was so tight it took an hour to stretch his hamstrings before practice and before games and everything. It was unreal. But it was just, he was so explosive and everything. But how important is stretching for these guys, for the hurdlers, and even for the sprinters and stuff?
In my opinion, and these guys can talk to it later as well, I think everything starts with stretching, really in any sport. If you're doing something that involves physical activity, stretching is one of the most important things that you can do, because it primes your muscles, it gets you ready to actually do the things that you're asking your body to do, right? And stretching not only to loosen up those muscles and get ready to go, but also working on stretching, like you said, to like increase flexibility and increase your physical limits, what you can do, what you can push your body to do as you continue to practice.
And that's one of the cool things about track and field, unless your event's first, is you're individual. So you know how much time you need to get ready for your event. So, and that's the one thing that was always cool about track is your time to yourself.
Right.
But then also once your event's over and all that, then the team time kind of deal where you're cheering on your teammates and stuff. But the stretching thing was cool because, like I said, unless they threw your event in first and your bus showed up late, then you're in trouble. But normally everybody stretched on their own back when I did track. I don't know if that's still the case here because every athlete's different. So it's your responsibility to know what you need and get it done.
Yes, sir.
So with that, we'll introduce the athletes. They're going to introduce themselves so they get used to talking here. But we'll start with Alex here. We'll go around this way, and what we'll do is introduce yourself, what class you're in, and what events that you do. And then when the questions start, we'll just kind of start with Alex, and we'll just go, and everybody will answer questions. We'll come back around, and that's kind of how we'll go. And then, who knows? Coach Thayer over here, we could go off the rails.
I can interrupt at any moment.
So, but we got some standard questions, track and field stuff, but you just never know what's going to come out of our mouths when something happens or said. So, but with that, we'll start with Alex. You'll introduce yourself, class, and what events that you do. And again, just speak loud so everybody can hear you.
I'm Alex Swift. I've been doing track for 4 years now. I'm a senior, and I run the 400, the 4x4, and sometimes the 4x6.
My name's Alex Niswanger. I've been doing track I've been doing track around 6 years now. I'm a junior. I do the hurdles and I do the decathlon.
My name's Haley Rivera. I've been running for 7 years, and I'm a senior, and I run the 100 and the 4x1.
My name is Zoe Thornton. This is my 4th year doing track. I'm a senior, and the 100-meter hurdle is my main event.
So, tell everybody, how did you get into doing track? I mean, you don't have youth track. I know you got middle school track and everything. Did y'all? Some of y'all saying that you ran for 6 years now, so that puts you into the middle school and everything. But what got you into track? What made it something that you wanted to do? And was it somebody that said, "Hey, you need to go participate in track," or is it something you thought that might be cool to do? But how did y'all get into track?
So my 7th grade year, Coach Hicks actually came up to me and he was like, I think you should run track just to stay conditioned after football season. And so he's the one who kind of got it installed into me. And in 8th grade year, we didn't have it. So when I came up to high school, I just did it again because I liked running. And I thought it was something that would keep me conditioned for football.
So my dad always really wanted me to get into it, so I got into it my 6th grade year, and I beat everyone on that team. So I was like, dang, I'm pretty good at this. So then I just kept it going, and then I tried hurdles my 8th grade year, and I was doing really good, about to make the state, and I fell and broke my collarbone. So that was a big oof for me, but ever since then I just keep progressing, I keep going. So.
I started off playing basketball, and my coach was also the track coach, and she wanted me to stay conditioned, and I started 6th grade year and been running ever since. And Coach James from the middle school really kept me going and told me to run in high school. That's why I'm doing it now.
I didn't start till my freshman year. I kind of wish I would have been in middle school, but I just never did. My stepdad, Coach Lindberth, was kind of think we were just kind of talking about it one day, and he thought it might be something I would like, and I just started doing it then.
How did y'all get into the events that you're doing now? How did you get to those events? Was it something that a coach said, hey, you need to run these? Or was it something that you saw and was like, hey, I think I might be good at this? Or how did your track career evolve into the events that you do today?
Well, I first started running 100 meters, and then I realized I was way too slow for that. And so I always knew that I could run fast for a long time. And so Coach Hicks was like, maybe you should run the 400 and just see how it goes. And in my first race, doing that, I actually won. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm good at this thing. And then also I knew that 400 was the hardest race there is. So I always liked the challenge, and so I kind of just fell in love with that and get better at it.
Going back to my dad again, he did hurdles in high school. He coached it, and going to Coach Hester, they've always got me into it. Coach Niswonger, Henry Hester, we've all done it. Will Hester, we all did it together. Sometimes Kate Hollisbrooks will do it with us. Like I said, it kind of runs in the family in a way. But then the decathlon, I think what they just wanted me to try it because they realized I always feel like I was half decent at all those events except the mile. I wish I could not do that one again.
I started off with hurdles and I got injured. I had an ankle injury, and then I started doing 4x1, and I really loved my team and I enjoyed running it. So I started running the 100, and I've always ran it, and I really love it.
I know I didn't want to do long distance, and then
Good thinking.
yeah, and I'm not like fast enough to really to just do the 100, so I think I just kind of got into hurdles because that's kind of something you can work on. You don't have to be super fast at it, but you can work on the form and everything, and you can get good at it.
The more technique than being just straight out fast.
You gotta be a good athlete for sure.
Do any of y'all play any other sports?
Yeah, I do. I play football.
I played football. I used to do basketball. I let that one down earlier this year.
I played baseball with boys, and I played basketball, but I let it go because I'm focusing on track.
I don't do any others.
What's your plans beyond high school? I know Zoe, you're going to sign with Lincoln Memorial, right? Have you got your plans set? I know you've had offers for this and that, but I haven't heard anything there. What are y'all's plans beyond high school? Looking to run track? Are you looking to get a scholarship somewhere? Or are you just looking to go to school or go to trade school? Or
I mean, I've had mixed talks with people, and I mean, like I said, maybe if I get a scholarship for football, I'll take one. But I've got that plan B. I'd just go like for 2 years and do my business, and go to workforce and stuff like that.
I have many offers. My mom's not excited that I'm deciding to go to community college, but I'm wanting to run at college level. I'm just gonna go to community college and run at a different college, and then transfer to a different college after my 2 years, and I'll be running and going to get my degree for nursing.
And yeah, I'm signing with Lincoln Memorial, so I'll be running there next year.
when are you going to sign with them? When's that going to happen?
I already signed officially with them a couple months ago. I haven't done the thing at school.
The ceremony
yet.
thing?
Yeah.
When is that? Have you set a date for that?
I think Coach Rogan said it'd be sometime in April.
Okay, because we'll be there for that, and we'll get that on YouTube, like we did with Avery and with Emiliano and everything. So, get into a little bit on your events. How do you all train? How do you do, in your mind? How's your training for? What do you do training wise for your event that you do?
I do a bunch of speed conditioning, so it's like it's conditioning and speed at the same time, so it's very painful, honestly. But so like at practice, I usually do like a 300, like full out every day, and then like one day a week I'll work on just speed, and then the next day a week I'll work on just conditioning. So throughout the weekday I'll bounce between Coach Smith and Coach Rogan's workout groups.
Do you ever sit there and break it down and work on your starts, going down the blocks, just different things there on how to I'll get into other questions that I've got about sprinting and everything. Alex, what do you do and how do you kind of go about your training? Or Alex Nicewander, that is. I got two Alexes here.
Like Coach Smitty was saying, we stretch at the beginning of practice, but then when the hurdlers break off, we got to stretch again. Stretching is part of our training. It's not just our warm up. And then we always set up like 5 hurdles right next to each other, and we do some warm ups with the hurdles. We tend not to do too many block starts. I don't know why. I'm not saying we should, but we don't really focus on the start too much. We always focus on the middle of the race because that's where most people lose it. But we do a bunch of 3-stepping drills because that's where you want to be at when you're doing the 110s. 300 hurdles, we don't work on that too much just because we don't have the markings for that on our track. So it's hard to even set up a race for it. But that's about it for the hurdles. And then decathlon, I mean, like Coach Smitty was saying, I have to go to Liberty Creek. And I worked on pole vault there, but I think last week, I don't know, some other day, sometimes I go with Coach Porter and I'll work on pro and stuff like that.
So let's talk about decathlon real quick. What are the 10 events that are in the decathlon?
It's discus, shot put, the pole vault, high jump. It's either long jump or triple jump. I think it's triple jump.
It's triple.
And then
Hopefully it's triple because you got honorable mention for all county in your triple jump.
yeah.
So
And yeah, then it's probably triple jump. You got the 100, you got the 400, you got the mile. What am I missing? You got the 110 hurdles. So
Two
I'm
more.
missing.
the 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't count. I only got to count to 3. What are you talking about?
I don't even. What is the 10th one?
I feel like it's another long distance.
So you don't need javelins.
No. We did the mile. The girls do the 800. They don't do mile. We don't do the 800.
I'd rather do the 800.
I don't know. Because then you kind of have to sprint it.
Yeah, you're right. That's why 400 so.
I really don't know what the
hate that
10th
race.
one was. Maybe we did have long jump.
We'll look it up. Yeah, let's look it
It
up.
might have been long jump. We made it a triple jump and long jump.
Zoe. Haley, what do you go about on your training there?
I mainly at the beginning of the season I focus more on the 100 because we don't dabble into the 4x1 until later in the season, and I'm more blocks. I do heavy lifting for my legs. I really focus on coming out the blocks as fast as possible, staying down low. I don't know how to explain it. I focus a lot with the 4x1 team, with the handoffs and stuff, and I make them practice over and over, and they must hate me for it, but, because running the 100, it's common sense, you're just coming out the blocks as fast as possible to
Right.
get to the end of the finish line, but we're just sprinting a lot. It's brutal, but I don't do it.
Zoe, kind of what goes into your training a little bit?
Yeah, like what Alex said, after we do our team warm-ups, we'll go over there on our own and do more stretches and more just hurdle drills for flexibility and just hip mobility and stuff like that. And then some days we will do like some conditioning, sprinting or whatever, but most days it's mostly just working on hurdles and form and stuff like that.
We're going to take a small break. But when we come back, we'll get into more questions and into how these guys think about certain things and how they go about dealing with injuries and race days and big events and all that. But you're listening to Sports Saturday Off the Rails here on the Portland Sports Network. Welcome back, Panther fans. You're listening to Sports Saturday Off the Rails here with Coach Almendares along with Coach Thayer. We have PHS Track with us today. Coach Ryan Smith, Alex Swift, Alex Nicewander, Haley Rivera, and Zoe Thornton. And we promise that we'll get with the football guy, make sure that your name is pronounced correctly this year. So that's a request that was made during the season last year.
Nice one.
Yeah.
I'll just say it. How's that?
But guys, let's go into more things with some questions here. What is tell us what is the hardest part of your training that people don't see? You know, everybody goes, oh, they're hurdlers, they got to jump, or they're sprinters, they got to run, and you just sit there and said, man, you know, if I didn't have to run, you know, so fast, or I didn't run so long, you know. But what is something that is the hardest that you think is so hard that people don't get to see that you can tell them about?
For me, it's just the food. Like for football, I can kind of eat whatever I want and know that I'm still going to be fine. But for track, if I'm too heavy, I'm going to feel it in a race. So I have to eat like an actual athlete during track, and then especially like before I race, I have to eat something nice, not just cereal.
Mine's gonna, this is gonna sound stupid, but mine's gonna go with the conditioning. But it's not, we don't condition. Well, so we'll condition as a team sometimes, but hurdlers, we'll go off and do our own conditioning. But it's a different type of conditioning. Not every hurdler on our team runs a 300, but we condition like everyone runs a 300. So we're sprinting a full 400, and then we'll jog a 400, and we'll take a break, and we'll do a sprint, and then we'll do a jog, and then sprint and jog. It's just, it's terrible, and it makes it even worse because when you're running on an asphalt track and then you're running on a rubber track, shin splints, they get you, and it's worse on hurdlers because when we're landing on that asphalt track, it's just terrible. So it's going to be conditioning and shin splints. That's far the worst for me.
What I should have done, we should have went with Alex and then Haley, and then, but we'll go with Zoe here because if you're talking about hurdling, that's what you are. Are you going with the same thing, or do you sit there and have something a little bit different?
I mean, the same thing too, but I would say kind of just the time involved of, even on the off season and stuff, you still gotta be training for it and just like going to the gym and practicing and just kind of all of that involved.
Haley.
Mine's more of the mental mindset because it's straining your body so much, but you're only running for
Short amount of time.
yes, and it's really mindset, like challenging the off season. All you are lifting and doing quick sprints and eating. It's like Alex said, you're wanting to eat something small in the morning and you're at a track meet for eight hours. And it's really hard to, because your body, like my body, if I eat something big, I know it, and it weighs a lot. It does a lot. There's a lot of factors to it.
How hard is it to balance training, and it's not just track and field, but training for whatever sport you're doing? How hard is it to balance the training in the sport along with school and having a social life and having a life itself? And you put it all together, you know, you got kids who go to school and come home, that's all they do, and that's fine. You know, how do you sit there and deal with, how do you handle, and how hard is it to know that you've got school? You got to keep your schoolwork in order. You've got now you got 2 hours of training that you got to do or practice everything, and then you got to sit there and make sure you have time to be with friends and or boyfriend girlfriend type of thing, and then you got the event that with I know with football it's once a week game wise. Basketball you could have 2 or 3 games in a week. Track you have what, 1 event per week basically.
When we get into the meat of the season, it's more like 2, but especially as we get started, it's just 1. We'll have one on Saturday, and then we'll train for a week, and then maybe we'll have one the next Tuesday, and then just so on and so on. So
But you
by
could
the
have
time-
one on a Tuesday and then a Saturday
Right.
type of thing.
Yeah.
So, but how hard is it for y'all, in your opinion? And it might not be hard at all for y'all. But how hard is it to balance doing an event, being an athlete, and then also doing school and then having a life, or trying to have a life?
For me, it's pretty easy because I play football, and so football practice is a lot longer, and football is just more demanding on the body in general. So like I would go home and then I would eat, and then I have to recover from football practice after that. So like there's no playing the game during football season. There's none of that. But with track, it's only an hour and a half practice, and I'm home, and I'm done taking a shower, and I'm doing whatever I want after 5:30. So the social stuff is fine because most of my friends play sports anyways, and it's just not. It's not as long as a practice, but it's still as demanding as a football practice, if that makes sense. So it's pretty easy to manage for me, honestly.
My opinion, this is nothing against like sprinters, because I used to be one myself. So I used to play basketball, which that was a lot so that's one of the reasons why I dropped it. But like playing football, I mean, we've got it. We're not in it for maybe 2 months out of the year. So the thing with that is, like me and Zoe, how we do hurdles, it's not just you remember everything. Like if I had my first hurdle practice the other day, and I looked like crap, if I'm being honest. I couldn't do anything. So like me not being able to be in track the whole season, it's just rough because hurdle is kind of muscle memory. So you gotta repeat, and if you let it go from the time I'm in football, you just gotta get back into it. So every year it's a repeat for me. But I mean, I think it's hard, but it's doable. So
I handle my social life and sports and all that very well because I mean this year I only have 2 classes and I'll go home. Like I'll go to practice and it's at 4:30 and then I'll go home, work out, take a shower, and go to sleep. It's really simple.
I mean, it can be hard sometimes. You just gotta be able to like manage the time. I feel like especially between school and practice and work and stuff like that. I feel like you stay really busy with it, but if you can manage it, it's not that bad.
Do y'all have any pre-race rituals, or are you superstitious? Do you all do certain things before your event? Is it, I've got to sit there and I say a prayer, or I sit there and I tap my head and hit my shoulder once or twice, and then I, get into the blocks, or, do you have anything that you do before an event that you kind of find yourself doing almost every time now?
I don't have like ritual or nothing, but I know like it takes me about an hour and 20 minutes to warm up. So like I'll work back, especially with the good track meets. They'll tell you when exactly everything's supposed to start, and hopefully it's on time. So I like to give myself about an hour and 40 before that, just to like massage my legs and stretch those out before I even go onto the track and start warming up with that.
I really, when I get in the blocks, I do one test run and that's about it. But I mean, I tend to stay with the bands when I warm up. It's really good with the hurdles because I used to train with Josh Jones, and he gave me bands to help with it. It helped me a lot.
I really start off with coming in, making sure for the 4x1 every teammate's there, and I will stretch, work on blocks, and then I really hit hard with the 4x1 team because one thing we do not want to do is drop the baton, and our handoffs have to be absolutely perfect. But that's I know they must hate me for it, but I really walk down on all of that, and we will work forever how long until they're perfect on it.
When you're done with high school, go coach the USA track team, please.
For me, I usually will kind of just stretch on my own, and then a little bit before the race starts, kind of every hurdler from like every school is kind of coming back to start line, running hurdles and running warm-ups. So I'll be with the rest of our team doing warm-ups, or even with some other people, you just join in with them sometimes.
How do you handle pressure before a big race? If you're down to your last race, you haven't qualified yet to go on into the postseason and everything. How do you handle, or it's a big meet, you've got your number one competitor that you've been tracking. How do you handle the pressure of that race right before? Do you go through your normal stuff? Do you even think about, this is the number one kid in the state of Tennessee, I'm going over here racing, or I've got to sit there and I've got to put this time up in this event right now because it's my last chance, or I'm not going to, sectional, sub-state, or whatever, y'all do and everything.
For me, I kind of just try to stay calm. So like last year during the Louisville meet, I was on the car right there. I tried to just sleep and keep not worried about nothing. And when I got there, I tried to listen to a lot of music, kind of just do my normal thing. Even though there's like 1,000 kids there and you're not really gonna get to warm up like you want, just stay calm and not let like the atmosphere get to you. And then when I made it to sectionals, like I knew it was a big race, but it was kind of the same thing. I just wanted to stay calm and kind of just enjoy the time with my teammates and not really focus on the pressure that's around there. And I feel like it helped me out because instead of having all those nerves and stuff in your body right as you're racing, it's a lot better to just beat you and feel like you're in the moment.
I feel like sometimes I get nervous, but like I don't ever really get too nervous. But like what helps me a lot is before every race I see my heat and I always link the times in it. I always pick one guy to stay with because I always pick the dude that's either the best or has just a better time than me. I was like, if I know if I stay with him or beat him, I'm doing fine.
I tend the night before, I will look at heats. I will stalk the runners on mile split Tennessee, and I do really get nervous, but that nervous pushes me to want to push harder and run faster. It really puts an adrenaline push in me.
Yeah, I definitely look at all the heats and their times and stuff before. One of the ones I was most nervous going into was subs last year because I was trying to qualify for sectionals, and I think it was like the top 8 qualified, and I think I was like the 7th fastest time going into or something, and I don't know, I just had to try to stay calm and not focus on it too much.
What's
I got a question. First, I like your necklace. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Don't let my wife see it. She'll want one just like it. So you picked up my comment about the handoffs and batons, right? You keep up with international track and field. Do you realize that U.S. is the absolute horrible track and field baton hander offers in the world? It's embarrassment, to be honest with you.
I watch them a lot because if Coach Thornton's not there to coach us, it's usually me. I've just been running for so long. I don't.
So do you go nuts when they do lane violations and baton drops and stuff like I do? I don't throw remotes at UT football anymore. I've outgrown that. But U.S. Olympics, we start messing around with batons, I go crazy.
It happened. It's happened at a meet before, like a personal meet where we were running, and I don't think there was an A and B team. The B team really didn't. I wasn't there helping them, but they did drop the baton, and I was really upset because
I like you a lot.
I was just really upset because I tend to focus on the handoffs because it's easy to run a 100.
Yeah,
But the
well, it's
handoffs-
not easy.
For someone that's ran it, it's
Yeah,
easy,
but-
but
Okay, but the handoffs, you're
yeah,
right.
for the handoffs, it's very much technique because you have a.
So how do you do it? Do you make like marks? Like when we used to run, we'd mark it. Like everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
Some people come up on you quicker than others and all that. So we used to tag a spot with a little piece of tape. What do you guys do to get your splits and know when to take off?
We have a triangle that we start at, and we measure our steps. And the girl behind me will come in quick, slow, it doesn't matter. She'll say go, and I'll take off. She'll say hand.
So she'll tell you when to go?
Yeah,
You
and
don't?
I'll
Okay.
put my hand back, grab the baton, and I take off. The girl in front of me, because I'm third leg, the girl in front of me, she'll absolutely take out of those blocks. Out of the start, and it's just
So you're
practicing.
standing in your spot, right? And
Yes,
you're
sir.
sideways. And so she tells you when to take off?
Yeah,
You-
she'll
you're
say
not,
go.
You don't have a predetermined place that she hits and then goes?
She can hit that triangle, and I'll know when to go
Right.
because we practice.
And then you're
so much.
running, you're not looking. So how do you
Yeah.
know when to come back?
She'll
you
say
come back
hand.
the whole time?
Yeah, she'll say hand, and my hand goes straight back.
Is it stay back or do you
Yeah, straight back. It
do
stays
this
there.
kind of thing?
I'll
Okay.
go straight back like this. Hand stays at this certain level. Grab the baton, you take off. You
Right.
can
And,
either
and
switch.
people have different, because when you're running,
Yeah.
you're losing speed if you're back all the
Yeah.
time. So there's some people that'll do
Yeah,
this kind
they'll
of stuff.
say go, and your hand comes straight back out.
Okay. And I was just wondering how you guys did it. And indoor, 100 meter indoor is not 100 meter indoor, it's 60 meters, right? So how's the hurdles? Is it different distances indoors or it's the same?
I've never ran in the indoor meet. It'll be my first time.
It's different.
Well, I know the
Yeah.
60, 100 it equates into the 60, and you run into a wall, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, the ones at the Louisville one, the hurdles are 55 meters, so it's only 5 hurdles instead of 10, which is in a normal race.
That's cool. You'll enjoy the indoor. That's we used to always indoor at MTSU. That was where everybody in Middle Tennessee, we'd have our indoor meets, and it was always I kind of liked indoor a lot. So you'll love the 60 if you're a good front end. See, I don't know what you run on yours. Are you a back end runner the most, or is your start the best?
I feel like it depends. It depends how nervous I am. My start can be amazing, and then my end be great. I really pick up speed right in the middle. So,
Right. Because there's a lot of people that are great 100 meter runners that are not good 60 meter
Yeah.
runners. So it just all depends on where your get up is at in your your deal. I tend to like the 60. I was quicker up front, but I'm just like I said. I love you because your baton. You're baton Nazi. You make sure everybody does it right, and I love that. It's you got to get it right. Or you're not going to win the race.
What's going through your head right before the gun goes off, or right before you start, or right before you gotta take off and everything? For me, I can't remember. It's been so long ago. High school, I can't remember that. But I can remember in college, I never heard the crowd. I could be out there on the field and the game's going on, and I never heard the crowd. I never had to worry about the crowd being too loud or anything. It was just like everything was in a tunnel and everything. Because I know up at Eastern Kentucky where I tore one of my knees, I didn't hear the crowd until I got hit, and I heard the ooh, and because it was pretty bad. But for y'all, what's going through your head right before you know the gun's getting ready to go off?
Like you said, I don't hear the crowd either, so like that's never played a factor in me. But usually the way it works is you stand on somebody's blocks before they race. So while that's going on, I try to like time up like my own start with it, like mentally, and before I get into the blocks and like while I'm getting into it, I'm just thinking, don't false start, and I'm focusing on like the breathing technique I'm gonna do, and just getting mentally focused for the race.
My goal every time is to be the first one at that first hurdle.
Mine is usually I hear the crowd, but when I'm down in those blocks and he says ready, set, it's just me and I'm staring just at the ground and I'm hoping to stay down for those 7 steps in front of me.
Yeah, I don't really hear the crowd. I mean, like you can hear it, but you don't focus on it. Like you're just so focused, you just kind of hear noise in the background. But getting down the block before they shoot the guns, I put a little snowbacking spot because I think my sophomore year when I first started and I disqualified from the race, so now I'm always like extra careful. I feel like sometimes I probably don't come out of the block as fast as I should because I'm scared I'm gonna false start again, but then I'll just try to get caught up during the race.
What race or what performance are you most proud of, and why?
For me, the Louisville, I don't know, I'm kind of stuck in between two. The Louisville meet I had last year, which was I think my second time running at Louisville. So for the 400, you have to run 2 laps instead of 1, and the curves are raised up. So doing that, I was really proud of my performance. Ran a PR 55.9, so I was really just happy with myself performing there. And then also last year in subsectionals, when we ran the 4x2, having the second fastest time there, I was pretty happy. Like this isn't what I run, and I'm still faster than some of the guys who run it. So I was pretty happy with myself performing in big time moments.
Mine had been my freshman year at subsectionals. It was at Kirkwood, I believe. So I was in the second fastest heat as a freshman, and I was really nervous because it's first year of really doing hurdles other than that 8th grade year. But I ran an amazing time, and that's what I qualified for sectionals there, and then that time tied me for me and this kid were tied for the first freshman in the state. And then it didn't go too well sectionals.
Mine was the 4x1. We qualified for sub-sectionals really, I feel like it was really early in the season, to be honest. And we haven't done that in a while because our 4x1 team, it's really hard to get a 4x1 team together. But we qualified and it was a really great run. We done it really fast early in the season, and that means we have a lot of time to work to the sectionals time.
Mine was probably the Summer County Championships last year. So I think I had like the 3rd fastest time going into it, and so I wanted to get top 3, and I ended up running a PR, and I got 2nd place there last year.
Coach there already asked do you prefer to chase or do you prefer to being chased? With all y'all kind of doing shorter distance, you really don't have that aspect of it. What is the biggest lesson you've learned from losing?
Just like going into the race and being so confident, and then just seeing another kid just smoke you, kind of is humbling, and just shows you that you still got to work. Because with track, you're gonna get what you put in, if that makes sense. So as much as you work and practice, that's what you're gonna do with meets. So just knowing that somebody else is outworking you, and you can see that, and everybody's got to watch you get smoked, it's kind of a humbling experience for sure.
To me, if I don't get first place, I don't count that as losing. I always just go off my time. So like, when I run a bad time, I count that as my loss, and it's just I'm a weird track runner. I mean, I can run an amazing time, then I can run a terrible time. It's just weird. But I mean, sometimes I take it hard, and I feel like sometimes I take it too hard, but I get over it the next hour.
Well, if I can cut in here for a second, that's something that you touched on, like your own times, right? Track is a little bit of a different sport because a lot of the time you're competing with yourself, right? You're not necessarily competing with the runners next to you all the time. A lot of time you're just trying to see if you can get a new PR. And it's a little bit different that way.
With me, I tend to, since I run the 100, I tend to beat myself up a lot if we're not PRing, because I put in so much work and then I come in and I'm coming third, fourth, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? But I'll sit there and learn from my mistakes. I came out of blocks and I stood up too fast, or I done something wrong, and I'll learn from my mistakes. And it just
In 100 meters winning.
yeah, stay humble.
That's the. I'm sorry, guys. Don't get mad, but that's the king event. It just you want to be the fastest person
Yeah.
on the track. So sorry, you just do. But you beat yourself up if you don't win.
Yeah, like what I said, it's cool if you can get one of the top places at a meet, but it's really just about your time and if you PR. And one thing I always like to do is I always have like my mom try to film my races, and so I'll
That's a good idea.
sit back and just look at it and see what I can improve on for the next time.
What goals? What's your goals this year individually? What are you looking for
I know
for
that-
yourself?
I know that to qualify for subsectionals, it's a 54.5, so I'm trying to hit that pretty early in the year, so that way I don't have to like have stress later in the year, like I have to run this time. Because if I hit it early in the year, I can just improve and work on technique more than just stressing about just hitting that time.
I guess I would have to go with breaking 40. I'm tired of being in the 40s. But I mean, I PR'd last year by like 0.2 seconds at the Greenwood meet. But I mean, I would have to say just improving my time.
With me, it's I would say PRing. I haven't PR'd in a minute just because I was injured a lot, and then the 4x1, I'm really hoping to beat the 52 that we are set right now, and just to stay consistent and not fall off.
What's the
with my
school
runs.
record for the 4x100?
51.
I was gonna say it's somewhere in the 51s. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're real close to it.
Yeah, we're so close.
So there is a record board now at the school. Where's
Yes.
it at?
It's right when you walk into those gym doors. It's a TV, and you can look up any record for. I don't know if all the sports are on there yet, but I know
So
basketball.
Once you get into the gymnasium or into the
It's right across
into
from
the gym lobby. Yeah.
Okay, but it's a TV, so you
Yes.
got to go up and punch stuff in and stuff. They didn't build you a real big pretty one that says.
No.
They need to work on that.
2026,
That's-
man, got to go digital.
No, you're gonna
Got
one
your
day you're
kiosk
gonna
there,
be
man.
a,
You gotta go
you're
to
gonna be
the
an
kiosk.
80-year-old guy. You're gonna want to show his grandkids. They don't want to go look at no computer
Yeah.
screen. Just see your name sitting there. I didn't know. I kept looking in there, and I thought they were gonna get something for these track athletes. I didn't even know it was that because I hadn't seen it. I was kind of aggravated that it hadn't got done because track and field's a special sport. It needs to get recognized just like anybody else's sport. Of course, the football banners are around the football facility, so nobody gets to see those anymore, which irritates me. By the way. And I didn't even play
Come out to the
football.
liftathon at the end of March. You'll see them.
Yeah.
For me, my main goal, I don't know if it'll happen or not, but it'd be really cool if I could make it to state. But last year I was like one of the slowest people at sectionals, but at least just to score better in sectionals would be really cool.
If you could switch events for one day with someone, what event would it be and why?
Like any person in the world.
Any event in track and field. If you sit there and go, hey, I'm not running my events today. I'm gonna do this event. What is the one event that you want to do?
What's your
that
dream
you,
event to be participant in that? If you had the tools.
I mean, the 100-meter dash for sure. Like if I was like Usain Bolt, the fastest. If I was just known I was the fastest.
But you know
on
he's
earth.
not a good 60-meter runner. You know that.
Yeah, it's the long legs. It's the back end. But like I said, if I knew I was the fastest in the state of Tennessee, I mean that's pretty.
Well, let me rephrase that. He's great at anything, but that's not 60. He's not quite as good as he is 100. But he's still phenomenal. But there's a lot of guys that can be in the 60. And not a lot, meaning like 6.
I would definitely have to switch to throwing because I actually enjoy it though. It's quite fun, but it'd definitely be throwing. Probably not in the Olympics because I mean, I'll get embarrassed, but I'm definitely throwing.
Why? Which throw?
Discus.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Disc ain't all about pure strength all the time. It's about technique, and you're a really strong and athletic kid.
It's
For
fun.
young men.
would you
I'm
enjoy
sorry.
doing the javelin or the hammer throw?
So Max, that's what I think he's been working on the hammer throw, and he's got. That's one thing about Max. He may not be the strongest, but his technique. He's
Technique's
always worried about
key,
his technique. Yes, and he's got technique, but I it's how how far he's banging is like, man, that must be hard because I know how he is.
So y'all have hammer throws for the events, or
Well, there's going to be a couple events that have it. We're having weight throw at the Louisville meet coming up, so I think that's kind of what he's doing. He's been doing hammer throw just to kind of get used to throwing
Yeah.
something heavier.
If I could switch, if we had it, I would 100% do javelin. I feel like that would be really fun. If not javelin, hurdles. I wish I could get back into that, but I've had too many injuries over it.
I don't know. I've always felt like pole vault would be kind of a cool thing to do. Or if I could be like really good at the 300 hurdle, I feel like that'd be cool. I used to do that, but I'm not this year. It's a lot of endurance, and it's just really hard to really do that.
what's your favorite post race meal? Like when you get done, you hadn't really ate much because you've all said that you don't want to eat a heavy meal, but race is done, the day is done. Now you get to do whatever you want. What's your
It
favorite?
depends if they did good or not, where their parents take them.
What's your favorite post meal, or post race meal?
For me, it's some type of chicken, like Cane's, Slim Chicken, Chick-fil-A, something like that. Definitely what I'm trying to get after the race.
Ravenwood meat at Chili's right down the road always hits hard for me.
Mine's usually probably Chipotle.
I don't really have one, but usually we'll be out late or whatever at meets, so we'll usually just eat out somewhere on the way home.
You ain't got to. Well, we'll ask that later. What's the one misconception people have about track athletes?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't know. You don't think. What is somebody goes, oh, they're track. What's the one thing that people think about track?
Probably that like you're just born fast, but like you just born into being a good track athlete or not really understanding how much practice it takes, and then it's almost more technique than it is just speed alone.
That's a good answer.
Let me ask you. And you go ahead.
I agree with Alex. I was gonna say people just think track's all about running. That's really not. I promise you, someone fast can't just come run a race. It's all technique.
I feel like it's a lot more. People don't think it is. They think it's all technique. It's more mental, because you usually beat yourself up a lot because you can't get a time or something. But if you don't, like saying running to 800, 400, I ran the 400. Let me tell you, I'm never gonna do it again. But it's a lot of mental. It's bad. Makes you want to cry.
I don't know. I would kind of just say that a lot of people don't really focus on track as much. Like it's not one of the more important sports, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not that Friday Night Lights kind of deal where you don't get any respect at all. And the people don't know it. They don't understand track meets.
Yeah, and it's just people have to put in as much work as other sports and stuff too, like training.
What advice would you give
Good
to a
answer.
younger athlete who's just starting into track or just getting into sports itself? What advice would you give younger athletes now that you're older and you've been through years of sports and stuff?
Learn as much as possible. Don't kill yourself and like expect to run this great time early, but try to learn, like watch YouTube or just develop yourself into a good technician and understand what your race is. Because if you're good at that, then you're going to become fast.
It's a commitment, especially track. I think if you know you're not the best, I feel like you should always practice. You want to be the best.
I would say always practice with someone faster, run with someone better, because running with someone slower, that's not going to get you nowhere. Running with someone faster pushes you to be better. It's more competitive. Always be competitive.
Yeah, I would say even if you start out like your freshman year, middle school, or whatever, and you're not very good, you can just work on it and focus on that, and you can still get good at it later on.
What has track taught you about yourself?
Like the success is you. So it's like with football, especially as a receiver, like no matter how much practice I put in, I can only do so much because there's so many things. Like quarterback has to throw a good ball, the line has to block. There's only so much I can do. But with track, it's all practice. Like you should practice 30 times harder than you should run, and so it just showed me that practice is more important than the actual meet.
I don't really know. I mean,
You can say fast and we'll go on. You don't have to answer every question now.
I don't know. It's
Say
just,
y'all done really
Yes,
good.
it's a test. So far, you all are making 100.
it's. I can't like. I don't see anything from myself. If that makes sense. Like now, I feel like if you could ask one of my coaches, like what they think it makes me out of. But I think me playing more sports is better for me. It gets me away from trouble. I'm not a troublemaker, but I'm just saying. Like I feel like it keeps me away from all that stuff. It makes me focus on something. I feel like it makes me a better worker in and out of sports, in school, and everything like that.
I feel like everything that you do in the off season, like eating, working out, even if you're lounging around, it benefits you on season. I feel like I work out all year round, and I feel like it helps me a lot during season.
I would say it just really helps you like commit to it and just really focus on it and work harder to try to get better. Like what Taylor said about all of off season working out, and you still have to keep doing all this stuff, and it just like teaches you to stay focused on it.
So these next three are just for the hurdlers. What's harder, speed or technique?
Put it together.
There you go. I'll take that.
Yeah, I would say that, and
Because you need both.
yeah, you do need both, but like I'm not the fastest person out there, but I've got my technique pretty good, so I can really do that. And
It cuts down on a lot of things to where speed
and then some
becomes.
people are faster, they don't have
Yeah.
as good technique, and
What's the most common mistake people make when learning how to jump hurdles?
You said it right there, jumping. Everyone just wants to jump over. You put it in your stride. So like, basically, in some of our warm-ups we don't even go over the hurdle, we run through it. So like, a lot of people just want to go out there. Wyatt Napier, he always wanted to try hurdles. First thing I saw him do, he jumped. Well, that's the highest I've ever seen him jump. But he actually wasn't. He's just not that fast. But
Wow, man, they just.
his form wasn't terrible. But it's just, I don't know. People just, like I said, people just want to go over there and jump over him, but it's not that at all.
yeah, like you just like run through it. Like you're not supposed to go and just stop and think about like jumping it. Your goal is just to go as fast as you can and just try to stay low and not really break your stride and running.
Let me see. What's the worst, in your opinion? What's worse, clipping the hurdle early or clipping it late?
Clipping it late, especially in the 300, because, matter of fact, I fell again at Greenwood, racing this guy, and it was the best race. That probably would have been my best race. I don't know if you remember Coach Smitty. It was this dude, he was #1 in Kentucky, but it was his first race back, and we were head to head, and And when you're losing that stamina at the end, I clipped a hurdle and I fell. Still got second, but I fell and it just sucks.
So do you feel? Zoe, go ahead and answer that. Which one do you beginning or end?
I don't know if it's in.
So do you feel if you clipped a hurdle early, say your first hurdle, you have time to regain your
Yes,
technique and
because
form and
You're,
maybe
I mean,
make up some stuff?
First hurdle is your fastest hurdle. So I mean, if you clip that hurdle, honestly, the hurdle's just gonna go down. You're not gonna go down unless you hit it with your foot. Like most people, they usually clip them with their trail leg on their knee, but like you're just gonna run right through it.
So these next three are for the sprinters here. What's the most important part of the race for y'all? The start, the middle, or the finish?
For me, the 400 is definitely the middle because because the middle sets up everything. So for the 400, like blocks are important, but if you waste too much energy, you're gonna be dead for the rest of the race. But like you can also have time to regain. But the middle, that back stretch, if you go all out, you're not gonna be able to finish the next 200. You're just gonna die. So the middle is, for me, you have to stride, but not stride too slow where everybody's catching you. So like the middle sets up the entire race for me.
I feel like it's the start, how you come out the blocks, staying low, and in the middle you're real tight, you're your pocket, and then the end you're kind of letting loose and just striding it out.
In the run to 400, you just need your head examined.
Do you, and if you do, how do you do it? But do you work on your reaction time? As in, you could do it with film, but being in the start block, hearing the gun go, and going. Is there any way you can work on your reaction time there, or reaction time on something else that's going on during the race and everything? Do you work on reaction time? If you're a relay, if you're in the relay, do you work on how quick that person's hand gets back to take the baton, or how quick they put it in your hand, type of thing? And I know y'all work on passing the baton off and this and that and everything, but elements inside your race or your event has to take reaction time. Do y'all work on that, or it is what it is because you're working on everything else?
Everybody I feel like works on reaction time. There's this thing that like all track firms do is when like a race is going on, everybody kind of like puts their head down and envisions themselves in the box and kind of like try to get out as fast as possible. So I feel like that's what most people do. But for me, reaction time isn't as important as it is for other races because you still have 300 meters later to catch up to.
Reaction time for me is very important in the 4x1 and the 100. Before I go on the track for the 100, and I will have mini heats before me, I'll sit there and say ready, set. When they blow, I'll do my get out the blocks or something. And for the 4x1, reaction time for the baton pass, when the baton hits your hands, it's all about, like I run the curve, it's all about taking that curve and actually putting your all into it. It's very important to just, your reaction has to be there.
What is, and that leads me into the next question, what is harder in your opinion? Running straight on the straightaway or running the curve? And why?
I feel like running the curve running straight, it's easy, but running the curve is really hard because one, I have a baton in my hand and it's harder to run with a baton. And I'm also leaning into the curve, and then my next step is to pass that baton. And it's just really hard.
For me, they're both as equally important. Like the curve sets up the straight, if that makes sense. So I like to break the 400 up into 200 meters. So the first curve, which is where you start, if you get out too fast, you're gonna die. But you also want to not get out too slow. And it's all about maintaining energy and trying not to get lactic acid as fast as possible. So like they're both as equally as important for me.
This goes for everybody, if you want to answer or not. What do you most respect about each other's events? It doesn't have to be just the four guys here, but just what do you respect about somebody else's event that someone might have to do?
Everybody has like their own talent towards that event, like that makes them good at it.
I'm gonna relate to throwers. Everyone thinks that they just get it all easy, but I mean the little bit I practice it kills your arms. It kills your arms and it kills your lower back. Because when you're doing like discus, Coach Porter's really good at teaching us it, but you've got all those twisties and turns. Feet have to be perfect. Like I'd say discus, the technique with your feet, it's just as much as technique hurls.
That's why jump rope's so important.
I feel like it's the dedication. Like for long distance, they're really Camden. She really puts her all into those long distance. Like I can never see myself doing it, but I feel like it's dedication.
Yeah, I would say like Alex with the 400, like just having to be able to sprint, like fully sprint the whole way around would be really hard.
So do you guys, after your event's over, do you cheer other racers?
Oh, for sure. I feel like track is one of the best team atmosphere things there is. So like for me, you get there and then 400's not till the middle of the day, so I'm just hanging out with the team.
I agree with you.
And the 4x4 is at the very end, so in between those, I'm just hanging out. So I feel like everybody likes to see somebody else succeed from their team and just cheering everybody on.
Have you ever gone to a college track meet? I mean, so I don't check one out. You ever go to Knoxville? They do a Dogwood Hills, or I think it's Dogwood something. That they have a fantastic track meet. I'm not telling you what to do, but it's fun, and you're gonna run track in college, so you'll know. But the college track meet, just the whole deal. But just see if you go to Knoxville Friday night, and just I'd go to college. If you really love track and field, like I know you guys do, it would be such a rush. It's better than football game in Tennessee. If you like track, see people. That's why I like you guys when track people come in, because people, like you just said, they don't understand track. The cheering your teammates on is just as cool as competing itself, and that bond that you guys get is so cool. We need to do a show at a track meet.
I'm up for
As
it.
long as it's warm. I ain't sitting out. I can remember the early track meets. You know what atomic bomb is? Is that still out? It's an ointment that, you know what it is.
Yeah.
We used to have to, we put it on because we were freezing so much. It was meant like if you got a pulled muscle, you'd rub it in, but it was real hot.
Heat or Bengay.
Yeah, so we would just, that part of the track I don't miss.
Going back to that question you asked about what people misunderstand about track, it's a spring sport, right? But the entire first month of our season, we are at track meets where it's like 40 degrees. It is freezing.
In very little clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's time to do your thing.
Freshman year, we were at Wilson County, and there was probably about 12 of us just cuddled up in blankets. It was awful.
Going back to that, I mean, it being 40 degrees, it's so hard to warm up. And you gotta keep moving, because you can be hot, and next second when you're just waiting for all the heat to go through, cold again. You gotta keep staying warm.
Yeah, I remember when we had, I don't know what year it was, but it was like raining, almost 40 degrees.
Yeah, we were all
It was so
cuddled up.
fun.
Who's the teammate that pushes you the most?
Well, for me, it was Wyatt, but he quit because he got smoked by it. But it's just that friendly competition at practice, and he ran the same event as me, so it's like, me and Wyatt, like we're friends, but you want to do better than that, no matter what. But now it's probably Quentin, especially Quentin's first year was last year, and he did such a good job. But I just want to hold that forward down as the best one for me to run.
I really don't have that dude anymore, but my freshman year definitely Will Hester. He just always wanted to beat him, because we kind of grew up together, so we always had that relationship. Liberty Creek, I almost did it, but it was definitely him.
I feel like my freshman and sophomore year, like during hurdles, it was me and Zoe that were head to head all the time. But in like my friend Haley, she runs the 200 stuff, and when I ran the 200, we were head to head all the time. But in the 100, it's just kind of me by myself in my own thing.
Yeah, last year for me, I would kind of say is Isabel, because we're on two girl hurdlers, so we just kind of push each other and stuff like that.
Has track changed how you handle stress, maybe outside of the sport? You know, you've got things that happen during an event, and you have to figure out how to handle that, how to deal with it. Not so much as track itself, but maybe just playing a sport. Has playing a sport helped you handle stress outside of playing that sport? You come up, you got something going on in your life, school, family, whatever it may be, social life. You know, you've dealt with stress because of the sports that you play. has that helped you deal with stress outside of or away from sports?
Absolutely. I actually have a key example. Last year, we were on the 4x2 at Green Hill, I believe, and we were running, and we were like neck and neck with first place, and I was handing the baton off to Rubio for the last 200, and the other team actually bumped into Rubio and made him drop it, and there was nothing we could do about it. We got DQ'd, and the other team got DQ'd, but it was like we were running such a good time. Like if we would have qualified right then and there, and I was kind of upset, but luckily we had another meet that we could run and we still qualified, so it kind of just showed me, like, just even if something goes wrong but you still have another chance later to fix it, just take best advantage of it as you can.
I think it helps me a lot too, how Alex went back to a track meet, like the Greenwood track meet. I fell, and people don't realize that what stress does is that thing right there, it stressed me out so much, but then I can go back and think that other stuff stressed me out. I was like, that other stuff doesn't even compare to this, so I just let stuff go. And I put it in the past, and it just doesn't bother me anymore.
What stress is, like, stress-wise, the 4x1, running it with 4 girls and us all wanting to be our best, do our best, it really, I'm not sure I can explain it, but it just really has taught me that we're a team and that we have our own individual things, but at the end of it, all of our points get added up. And,
Yeah, I would say it really helps in other parts of life too. I feel like when you're at a meet, I feel like the meets that I'm more stressed about trying to PR or whatever, I feel like those are actually going on and are doing better because your adrenaline just gets going and you're just so focused on it.
What as a high school athlete, what pressures comes with being a high school athlete? That may be someone who's not an athlete or who's now an adult. What pressures do y'all have now being an athlete now at these days that people don't understand?
I mean, it's just being an athlete in general, just having to maintain school and sports at the same time. Just so many worries that put into it. Especially if you play sports for a while, you just figure it out and it helps you later in your life. Just the time management skill.
What really gets to me from being a high school athlete and a chance for my senior year, it's going to be my last race or my last football game and stuff like that.
that's how I am right now. That this could possibly be my last year running, but I'm just how do I say it? I can't. It's my last year running, and it could possibly be like I could go to college and run it, but probably not. I'm not sure.
What was the question? Oh my god, I was like, wait, what else?
How is it being how much stress is it to being a high school athlete nowadays?
Yeah, I would just say you just have to be able to like manage the time again, like I said, between school and running and stuff like that.
What is the a couple more? Well, we got about 10 minutes. We'll go all the way up to the time here. What's the funniest or most embarrassing thing that happened to you at a track event?
I don't got one. I ain't never fell in that.
I mean, I guess you would have to say falling. I mean, but for some reason you think it would, but it really doesn't embarrass me.
Right.
Because especially when you get hurt, I've fallen twice. 8th grade I got hurt, so I just wasn't thinking about that. And then Greenwood, I didn't get embarrassed because I somehow still ended up getting 2nd place in the whole entire meet. I don't know. I really don't know. I got right there with Alex.
I feel like it's not an embarrassment. It's more of like if you do something wrong, it's more of a disappointment in yourself more than it's embarrassing.
Yeah, mine was. I have 3 examples to be honest. Mine was running hurdles. It was one of my last time running them, but I fell. And running hurdles, you're sitting right against the crowd and hearing that ooh from the crowd. It was one of the most awful things. And then John Pope, I think we won that meet overall. I tore my MCL on the infield, but I still ran. And that really, it wasn't more embarrassing, it was disappointment because of my technique. That's why I tore it. And then, yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
I remember falling during an actual race, but one time out of meet, I fell during warm-ups. It was like just a couple minutes before we ran. And then one of my falls started before the race, and so I got disqualified, and so I really walked out and all that stuff.
What's you You got a funny story on them?
I mean,
It could be warm-ups. It could be on the bus on that going there. Or, it didn't have to be an actual event type of thing.
working with kids. There's more stuff that I've forgotten that's funny or embarrassing than I could even tell you. I'm sure there's stories, but nothing's coming to my mind right now.
What is one word teammates would use to describe you?
For track, it definitely just be leader. Slow,
Whatever. Some people call me irritating, especially Archek. I gave him a hard time the other day, but it's just because I want him to be the best. I really do, because I know he can be.
There's not really a word. It's either I'm irritating, leader, or competitive.
I don't know, probably committed to it, I guess.
Quiet.
There you go. So, last serious question before we get into some other ones. How do you want to be remembered as a teammate or as an athlete?
Just the guy who did it right. Like, he learned from his mistakes and always did as best as he could.
For sure, a hard worker.
Dedicated.
I'd just say like, definitely like being friendly with everybody, just helping everybody out, just being committed to it, and being the best.
So, get into some questions that we normally ask people. What's your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Used to be math, but I realized I wasn't that good at it. Probably history. I really enjoy that.
Economics, right?
I like economics because you're my teacher and I coach, but mine's probably English.
Mine's history.
What was yours in school?
Mine was history.
Coach Thayer?
In school?
Yeah.
Practice. No, I did. I was a big ag person, and I did math. I was good at math. Not English. I hated English instead.
What is favorite movie?
I don't know, but a movie I watched recently that I liked was Meet Joe Black.
You just recently watched that?
Like a couple months ago.
It's funny, man.
I don't know. I can't really have a favorite movie in my opinion. There's too many out there. But
Favorite sports movie?
I'm either gonna have to go Blindside or Rudy.
Mine has anything to do with racing, cars, any of that. I don't really have one.
I don't really have one, I don't think.
Y'all don't have something where you say it comes on, you're like, I'm watching that. And I've seen it 100 times. I'm still gonna watch it. No,
I
nothing.
don't watch TV or either.
You didn't ask me.
What's your
Depends
favorite?
what season. Basketball, Hoosiers, for sure. Baseball, Sandlot.
That it?
We got a lot of fun movies.
I'm a sucker for old sports movies. Well, like old to me.
Yeah.
Remember the Titans, Sandlot, stuff like that. An underrated movie, not necessarily related to track, but it's a team, and it's something that a lot of people haven't seen. Cool Runnings. Look it up.
What's it called?
Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings. I'll watch that tonight.
Is that about the bobsled team?
Yeah.
Okay. The Jamaican bobsled team is what that is. I was a big Miracle fan when it came out. And that's because I've got a story that goes behind it. When I was in third grade, we got to write, our assignment was to write a letter to the Olympians for the 1980 Olympics. And I wrote to Bill Baker off the hockey team because his goal gave us a 2-2 tie versus Sweden, which got us into the medal round, which got us facing the Russians, and then on to the. He actually wrote back, and so the letter and the picture that he sent, it was a personalized, handwritten letter. I kept that for years, but I moved so much when I was younger, I lost it. But I've always been a big 1980 Olympic hockey guy. So the documentary they just came out with on Netflix is a good one. Probably the best one they've had and everything. So that would be something for me. What's your favorite food?
Probably my dad's steak.
Should have brought us some. We're always looking for breakfast. Nobody ever brings us anything.
I'm a big fan of hash.
Probably my family friend's steak is pretty good.
Probably like a burger.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Raising Cane's or some chicken.
So you've been to Zaxby's, right? You like Raising Cane's better than Zaxby's?
I like Raising Cane's chicken. The only thing I don't like about Raising Cane's is no ranch. If it had ranch, I'd go there all the time.
Okay. Just
But
wondering.
Zaxby fries are like.
I'm gonna add
S
on
tier.
to Alex's thing, like Raising Cane's. Why the crap that they got chicken tenders but they ain't got wings?
Yeah,
That's what makes me
that's
mad.
lame too.
Because my family loves going there, but I always go to Slim Chickens right next to the door.
I haven't done some chicken. I need to try that
It's
out.
amazing.
Favorite restaurant.
This is just a 2-hour show, by the way.
I like Chili's, but I don't know if I can name that my favorite one. But I'm gonna do it.
Mine's probably not the local Mexican restaurant, but Dos Margaritas up in Gallatin. It's pretty good.
Probably Texas Roadhouse.
So I go with you. That's one of mine right there. Coach?
Favorite restaurant?
Yeah.
Smalls Burgers down in Louisiana. We actually, I don't think we got any in Tennessee yet, but they're coming this way. But Smalls Burgers, they're really
Favorite food?
favorite food.
Yeah.
Anything. I love pizza. Pizza's got to be it. It's just hard to screw up a pizza. Well, it's not. Really
Have you did the Chicago deep dish at
I'm not a big
Campione's?
Chicago deep dish guy. I had, they're famous in Chicago, right? So one of my guys that I help support sent me Lou Malnati's. He
Yeah.
bought it there and they freeze it. And that made me not good. It made me sick really bad. So I kind of swear the deep dish stuff off. But I heard the one in Gallatin's really good.
I'm not a big sausage guy, but their deep dish, you need to call if you're going to go El Campione's in Gallatin. You need to call, put the order in, because it takes about 45 minutes to make it. And call, put it in and stuff, and that was probably the best sausage pizza I had.
I like
ever.
NY Pie down in Hendersonville and Pinky Rings down in Madison. Actually, when I go to Mike's Hassel signing Tuesday, on the way back home, I'm going to stop in Madison and pick me up some Pinky Ring pizza for dinner.
Coach Smith, what's your favorite food, favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant right now is probably Cane's. Cane's is pretty good. Me and my family go up there quite a bit because we live a little bit closer to Bowling Green, so it's an easy drive for us. Favorite food, I gotta go with Coach Thayer. Pizza's pretty hard to mess up. I like a good pizza. I do like Chicago deep dish. Shout out to my buddy from Chicago, Matt Jones. Just got hired by the Atlanta Falcons yesterday.
Oh,
So,
sweet.
big Chicago guy.
And you're going to have to go to John Smith Subs. Have you been there in Harrison?
I haven't.
It's really good. Let me just tell you. Trust me, I'll buy your first one. I'll give you some money to buy it. But it's really good.
Well, guys, that's our time. I appreciate y'all coming by and answering all the questions and everything. And yeah, let's figure out a date and a place we'll go.
I love track.
How we're going to do it, I don't know. I don't want to sit in
It's
one.
all-
I don't want to sit in one spot because you got just so much things going on. We have to figure out how to do.
Well,
How to do
we'll
that.
be in the bleachers somewhere. Then that way you can, because we can't get up on all the stuff.
Right.
The bleachers would be the section, and then
We'll
we
set up
could do
and
some interviews and stuff like that.
have Coach bring some kids up to the stands.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's
We
very
can do it.
it's
Yeah,
very very doable.
I'm all for it. So, but appreciate Coach Smith coming in today, bringing in along Alex Swift, Alex Niswanger, Haley Rivera, and Zoe Thornton coming in PHS Track. They go next Saturday up to Louisville for indoor. Season don't start until March. But again, keep us with if you'll feed me results and stuff. I'll highlight it on our Facebook page and everything. Also remember today on YouTube you'll have the girls basketball game at Springfield starting at 2 o'clock. The boys will start about 15 minutes after, probably about 3:15, 3:30ish. A big game for them coming up today. Also, if you want to tune in, you can always tune in to the Portland Sports Network on YouTube. Just put in Portland Sports Network and it should take you to our YouTube page. You can also go to www.portlandsportsnetwork.com. That also have all kinds of stuff on there, information on how to and links to get to wherever you need to go. You can also go to Sports Saturday Off the Rails on Facebook. We'll have pictures here. This will be loaded up in a couple days, video-wise. But we thank everybody for coming in. Hope everybody has a great day. Be safe while you're going out and about. And always go Panthers.